Thank you for joining us for this Local Decision 2016 Candidate Spotlight. I'm Ben Hale. Today I'm sitting down with Jeff Parr, and Jeff is running for the mayor seat in Centerville, currently on the city council, and you're unopposed for the election, but we still wanted to have a chance to kind of talk and chat and reintroduce yourself a little bit to the citizens of Centerville. So let's just start with kind of tell people a little bit about yourself, how long you've lived in the city, and some of the involvement you've had in the city government up to this point.
Okay, thanks for having me first, Ben. I've been in Centerville 17 years. My wife and I moved to Centerville 17 years ago. And I was first elected in 2002 to city council, and then I've been elected 4 consecutive times up till now. So I've had 14 years on the city council, and they weren't all 4-year terms. One was a 2-year term that I was filling out from someone who had left the council. I've also been a liaison to fire steering, which I currently am, Park and Rec Committee, as well as I'm the chair of the Centerville Fête de l'Axe Parade Committee. So I've been involved with that. Also the EDA, the old EDC, and the I-35 and other committees that the city's had. So I've had a lot of involvement with the city of Centerville, pretty much 14 of the 17 years that I've lived there.
So why was now the right time to take it up a notch, maybe some would think, and run for the mayor spot?
I like leadership. I like the leadership role. I like to be faced with things, problems, concerns, and I like finding solutions. And I felt like it was time to make that step, to step up into the leadership role of the council. And I've already been talking with Mike Erickson, our administrator, on some common goals and things we want to try to accomplish. And I just felt like the time was right, and a time for a change, and that's why I put my name in.
So as we're sitting here recording this now, it's the end of September, still a number 5-6 weeks before the election, and then there'll be another 7 weeks or so before you take the mayor spot in January. What do you think those next couple of months are going to be like for you as you're kind of ramping up to that?
I've already went in and met with Mike Erickson, our city administrator, and I went in and met with some of the staff members at City Hall. And there will be a transition time with Mike, and Mayor Will Harbor as well. And I'd also like to go in and talk to Public Works and, again, city staff and Tom Wilharber, and just kind of see, obviously I know where everything's at in the city, but just to see, what they've been working on, because a lot of times the mayor and the administrator, do things outside of the council, with checks being signed and all of that behind the scenes work as far as, do I need to change anything with that? I'm already a signer on the account, but does that need to change? What's the procedures, for the complaints? Because the mayor usually gets the complaints first, and then the council may be copied on them or any of the hot issues. I just want to be updated on some of those that I may not be aware of. So there will be, kind of a transition period, probably starting in the next couple weeks. And then, obviously January hits and we'll be running.
How do you envision, a lot, in these kind of setups that we have in our local cities, everyone's vote is the same on the city council, but how will that, being the mayor, be different for you than being a council member?
Well, again, I think with the mayor, there's a different responsibility. If somebody's really angry or somebody thinks that they're going to get something accomplished, they'll usually go to the mayor first. And so there are emails and phone calls that Mayor Will Harbor gets that we don't. Not that we don't get any, but I think that's the big difference. Is usually I think a lot of times if there is a complaint or a concern, or even if someone just wants to see something done, they'll usually start at the mayor. And so I will have to take that role on, obviously, as is probably going to be more fielding calls, fielding emails. Mike may call me because I do work at home, And if we have someone that's looking at a property that we have for sale or looking to come to Centerville, he may look to me to say, hey, can you meet us for a quick lunch or meet us at the site just to introduce yourself to help, with the commercial development and whatnot. So it is a bigger responsibility for sure.
Since you've been on the council, what are some of the accomplishments maybe that you're most proud of, things that you as a part of the council have gotten done for the citizens of Centerville?
Well, everything's always about taxes. Can you lower taxes? Our taxes are too high, and one thing that I've always tried to do is we have taxes that we collect, is be a steward of those taxes and get the most for our money. Do we always want to keep taxes flat or lower? Sure. But sometimes you can't, like what just happened with our police and fire. If that budget goes up, the city has to accommodate that. Our budget is very tight, but we have to find the money to pay for our public safety, which a lot of that, it's over 50% of our budget. So we have to look for those dollars, and sometimes it does, you do have to raise taxes. But some of the accomplishments, the water tower, that was a huge one. That was one when I got on early. We got accomplished. Our water tower is way too small for the city. The water tower we have now, we paid cash for. We don't owe on it, and it will accommodate us to build out. Basically, when the city's completely built out, that water tower will accommodate us. Our pavement management, that was another one. Our city streets were in pretty rough shape. And again, that was a hard decision because a lot of that is you're assessing residents for the project to get done, and a lot of those we had to do sewer and water as well, mostly water. And we did put the pavement management in place, which now we're maintaining the streets that have been done with a mill and overlay rather than putting the gravel and rocks. So that plan we started again early on back in the mid-2000s, and it is stuck, and we continue to work with that. The police and fire, you've done stories on that. We had Lionel that left the fire district, and I'm pretty proud of how we've been able to bridge that gap. Again, we did have to raise some taxes because of the extra costs. But the public safety, I think we've done a really good job with. I'm proud of that, as well as some things that are just what you call for fun. The Fête de Lac celebration has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people and more events. And this year took a huge step forward, and I know Mike's looking to push it even more forward next year. We've had some commercial development. We need to have more, and that's one thing I guess I'll dovetail into, is that's one thing that is really on the horizon moving forward as mayor. And I've already talked to Mike, and Mike, our administrator, has been out and about. He's a go-getter, and one of the reasons we hired him as an administrator is for that reason, to bring commercial business to Centerville. And that's a huge, huge part of our tax base that we need to get.
So how do you do that? How do you go, besides just how do you create an environment and create a city that businesses want to come to?
Well, and that's one thing we've done. We have the shovel-ready property right off Commerce Drive that basically it's ready to go. Everything, the soil, water, sewer, everything's ready to go. It's deeded shovel-ready. So that's one thing we've done. We have just switched realtors, and we're working with a company now that kind of specializes in the business, Rouch Companies, as well as we have a partner in Brandon Champeau. He is actually doing a development in Lino Lakes, but because it's so close to us, Mike has, I guess, created a partnership with them saying, hey, we're open for business. Anybody that that you work with that's looking to develop, we're ready, and we're willing to work with them. And I did meet with Mike last week, and it looks like we have someone coming into our meeting on Wednesday that's looking to do a commercial development. I think we've put forth that we're flexible, that you don't want to say easy to work with, because we do have to protect the city's best interests, but I think the developers are seeing that we're willing to make some changes, to rezone, to do what it takes to get the commercial development. And I got to give, again, I know I've brought his name up several times, but Mike Erickson has really done a great job of getting the Centerville name out there and really working hard to draw that commercial business in.
Do you have types of commercial businesses that you would prefer come into the city, or are you trying to stay open-minded on that?
You know, looking back at it, at first I thought, you know, you want to do this. You don't want to have heavy industrial. You don't want to have trucks coming through because it's a small town. But, you know, you have to keep an open mind. I think over the 14 years I've been on council, you've got to keep an open mind, because if you're looking for just a perfect business to come into the city, and that's only what you're going to accept, pretty soon you have nobody coming in because you're so narrow cast and tight. But I mean, I would like to see a mix of everything. I'd like to see, you know, some of the industrial in our industrial area, commercial. Also, I mean, I would love to see, you know, where Lionel Lake's property is in Centerville, you know, off of 21st Avenue and 20th there. I mean, literally, we're this far away from each other. So the big rumor is up in the area off of 35 there, Lionel's got some, you know, either Hy-Vee or a Cub or something like that is eventually going to go in there. Well, we have that property right across the street. So once that happens, I mean, I'd love to see a Caribou, a Starbucks, something like that, another restaurant. You know, even these microbreweries that are huge, you know, Lionel has one, or you know, a Surly type, I think would be great in the city. We do have some liquor license available, so, you know, bars, restaurants, retail, but again, it's going to be rooftops that drive that. And with Lionel having all of those homes going up right off of 21st, 20th, and right off the freeway there, there's going to be 1,000 new homes in that area. And again, it's just right across the street from Centerville, so I think that's going to help us a lot.
Now, you've been on the council for, like you said, 14 years, but when January comes and you pick up the gavel for that and call that first meeting to order as mayor, what do you think that night will be like for you? What will the emotions be like at that time?
Humbling. Trying not to do this, but my mom passed away 4 years ago, and she kept telling me, you know, you'd be good at mayor. And I said, Mom, I got too much going on, got young kids, and I said, it's not, you know, as easy as you think it would be. And she said, well, I think you'd be good at it. I said, well, you got to say that because you're my mom. And I will have a hard time that first day because both my parents are gone. But it will be a special day for me and my mom. And the other part of it is my family. A lot of people don't realize the sacrifice that you make. It's not 2 meetings a month. It's 2 meetings a month. It's a committee meeting. It's budget meetings. It's, hey, we need a special meeting because this developer wants to get going early, and it's, sorry, you know, honey, I'm not going to be home. Back in the day, babysitters and the kids, my kids and my wife, Gina, have sacrificed a lot. And they will be there to support me, and that will be a great thing as well. I've gotten a lot of support from, obviously, my wife and kids. Like I said, I can't thank them enough, because without them being flexible, I can't do this. And a lot of the people in the neighborhood, a lot of the residents, and you know, my extended family, my brothers, sisters, my mother, father-in-law, nephews, nieces, have all given me a ton of support. Now, I'm not sure who's all going to be there, but I guess, Ben, the long answer I've given you to a short question is humbled. I can't thank the residents enough. Truly, I'm honored to do what I do.
I got one more question for you. Let's finish up with this one. You've served this city for a long time now, so you must like it. You must like the city. What to you makes Centerville special?
What makes Centerville special is our heritage. You have so much that you've got a lot of the residents who have been there a long time. You know, you have the Duprees, where they've been there 100 years plus. You know, some of the founding fathers. Tom did a great thing with the city at our last festival, where he had almost like a museum that he put together on his own. You know, obviously he had help. You just don't see that. The Fête de l'Arc celebration has just gotten way bigger every year. Started really small the first year we moved there. I remember the fireworks, like one would go up and about a minute later another one would go up, and this year, you know, we had a $5,000 display, and it was great. People know your name. Everybody's willing to help out when you go somewhere. The local businesses, people are friendly when you walk in. Everyone has always got a smile on their face. Is there things we could work on? Absolutely. But when push comes to shove, it's a great city with neighbors. In our own neighborhood, we've seen how great people are helping out when people need help. And citywide, when, you know, there's been tornadoes that have come through, or storms and trees are down, neighbors helping neighbors, and people helping people. It really still does have a small town feel, even though we've increased our population double since I've been there. I still believe that we really have a small town feel, and the residents really are great, and that's what keeps us there. It's a quiet neighborhood, city-wide, and I really enjoy it. It's been a great place to raise a family, really has.
Well, thanks for coming in today and giving us your thoughts and sharing a little bit about yourself with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that was Jeff Parr, who is running for Centerville, the mayor spot in Centerville. He is unopposed. And I want to remind you, you can always head to northmetrotv.com for any of our election coverage. It's all there for you. Just find the local decision tab and it'll all be there. I've been your host, Ben Hale. Thank you for watching.